Hello loves and welcome to today's video. This past weekend was Canadian Independent Bookstore Day, and to celebrate I did a bookstore crawl and visited 8 different bookstores in my local community that are independently owned. They're not chains. So today I am going to give you a little bit of a story time of how I came to get the books that I got throughout this weekend, because honestly it did not turn out in the way that I was expecting it to. To start with my intention going into the bookstore crawl, I read Trust of the Emerald Sea recently and really wanted to read the Mistborn series next. So I do own Mistborn, which is the first book in the series, and my goal for the weekend was to try and find the rest of the books in the series, and I was going to try and do it in chronological order. If I went into an 8-store bookstore crawl with no plan, I was going to leave with way more books and way less money than I would probably be comfortable with. So going in with a plan seemed like a good idea to me, to make sure that what I got was reasonable. So on Friday night at 4 p.m. I started the bookstore crawl and I visited 2 bookstores. The first one only had Trust of the Emerald Sea. They did have the hardcover and the paperback, so I did briefly consider getting the hardcover because it's so pretty. I got the paperback originally because it was cheaper and I didn't know if I was going to love it yet, but then I loved it so much that I do kind of regret not getting the prettier hardcover version, but I couldn't justify that. I already own a copy of it, but they didn't have any other Brandon Sanderson. Bookstore number 2 had some of the Secret Project books. I think it was Yumi and the Nightmare Painter, and then it had some of the Stormlight Archives books, but it only had book 2 and 3 of Stormlight Archive. While I might have been able to stretch it to get book 1 there, they didn't have book 1. Keeping to my list, I wasn't going to get anything at either of the 2 bookstores. So that was Friday night. Saturday, got up early, went to one of the bookstores, and while I didn't get anything myself, I did talk my friend into getting Trust of the Emerald Sea. I explained to her how much I loved it, what I loved about it, and she was sold. I was happy to rope someone into reading that book considering how much I loved it, but that was the only Brandon Sanderson they had. Went to archery practice, went to lunch, and then went to another bookstore on Saturday. And this one, coincidentally, my sibling sent me a gift card for that they intended to give me like a year ago, but didn't end up making it to me, so they finally sent it to me on the Saturday. And unfortunately, they again didn't have any Brandon Sanderson. Knowing I had a gift card allowed myself to stray off of my list just a little bit. The intention of the list being to make sure I didn't overspend. So I let myself go off list and I picked up Ling Ling Huang's Natural Beauty. This book is about a woman who's a very good musician, but then she ends up having to get a job in a beauty store to help make ends meet, and she gets full view of the extreme lengths that women, I'm assuming mostly women, people in general, go to maintain their natural beauty. I have heard really good things about this. I've heard that this is like a better version of Rouge by Mona Wad, and I did enjoy Rouge, so I am looking forward to reading this and was really happy I could pick this up. And because I bought a book at that store, they also let me pick up one of their arcs for free, and I picked up Militia by Steven Dos Santos. This appears to be like a YA horror about this group of friends who go to this amusement park that's on an island in the Dominican to like try and find their friend who disappeared, and then spooky, creepy stuff starts to happen. It seemed fun. Never heard of this, and it's never heard of the author, but I figured it might be a fun read, and I'm always down for some weird spooky stuff. That was my Saturday haul from one of the indie bookstores. Now, I did have a very action-packed weekend. On Saturday night, I attended an anniversary party, and at this party there were some door prizes. There was a raffle, and I was lucky enough to win one of the raffles, and one of the prizes was actually donated by one of the independent stores on the bookstore crawl. So I won a 3-book bundle. The first book was Horse by Geraldine Brooks. This is based on a true story about the life of a racehorse. According to the back, it's about art, science, love and obsession, and also racism. So I'm really interested to see how we're getting all of that from a racehorse. Not something I probably would have picked up for myself, but I'm interested now. I want to see how this goes. The second book was something that's actually been on my TBR, and that's Pachinko by Min-ji Lee. This is about 4 generations of a Korean family living in Japan. I'm not an expert on it, but I do know that there is a history between Korea and Japan. So I am really interested to explore this because it is an area of the world that I don't necessarily read a lot of books about, so it's something new to try for me. That's book number 2. The third book from that bundle was Learned by Heart by Emma Donoghue. This is a historical fiction that is apparently based on a real-life journal of a love story between 2 girls at a boarding school. One is an orphan heiress who is banished from India to England, and the other is a tomboy according to the description. I am always down for a sapphic love story, though I am trepidatious about it being a historical romance, especially like the 1800s period is not necessarily my favorite, but I always appreciate the opportunity to try something that I wouldn't necessarily pick for myself, because sometimes you find a hidden gem, or even if I don't like it, I can recommend it to someone in my life who maybe they would like it. So by the end of Saturday, I was up 5 books and I had spent $1.20 because that is how much I had to pay out of pocket after I used the gift card for Natural Beauty. So while I was unlucky in finding any Brandon Sanderson books, I was very lucky in that I won 3 free books and got a free ARC. Then on Saturday, it was the biggest, most packed day of the bookstore crawl, and my friend and I visited 4 bookstores, and I was unsuccessful in finding any Brandon Sanderson Mistborn books in any of those 4 bookstores. Did find a specific one of the Skyward books over and over again, but unfortunately I did end the weekend with not a single Brandon Sanderson purchased. But because I was at the last bookstore, which happened to be the same one that sponsored the giveaway I had won the night before, I decided that I clearly had reined in my spending enough to go off list again, and I picked up Mary by Nat Cassidy. This appears to be about our main character, Mary, who tries to live her life not drawing attention to herself, and then she starts going through, I guess, a change of life, as they will delicately call it, and she somehow starts to see specters that follow her around everywhere. I've heard really great things about Nat Cassidy's writing, both with Nestlings and Mary, so I was really excited to pick this up, and hopefully it is a hit for me. Also with this book, I did buy a tote bag from the store that says, "Support local bookstores, not billionaires," and it was a lot of fun to spend the weekend with my friend going on this bookstore crawl. But that is not the end of the haul, because Monday I checked my email, as one does, and I had an email from the bookstore that I bought Natural Beauty at, and because I had purchased a book, they entered my name into a draw, and I won a second book giveaway in the same weekend. I picked that up, and I won 4 more books. First is Chrysalis by Anuja Varghese. This is a short story collection about different family and community connections and how racialized women have power taken away from them. So very interested to read that one. Next is a play, Body So Fluorescent by Amanda Cordner and David Giovanni. This is a play about a man who wakes up with a text from his friend saying, "We're done," and no memory of the events of the night that led up to that. So I assume it's him trying to piece together what happened and why he has been isolated from his friend. In the last book, I am going to put my hand in a very specific place to censor so YouTube doesn't get mad at me. Scenes from the Underground by Gabriel Chalette. This is a series of vignettes about the club and underground queer scene, and there are different drawings throughout, none of which are appropriate for me to show on YouTube. These 3 books were all Writers' Trust of Canada nominees under the LGBTQ2S+ category. I am very interested to read some more queer literature and see which of these I think should have won the award. And the final book of the haul, and from this prize pack that I won, is a very beautiful version of Persuasion by Jane Austen, gilded edges and everything. And I haven't actually read Persuasion. I tried reading like one Jane Austen when I was a teenager and I just couldn't keep track of the characters. I haven't really tried to read any Jane Austen since, and I think maybe I'm an adult now, and while keeping track of characters is still my weakness, I'm probably more willing to put in an effort now, especially because Jane Austen is one of those prolific writers. Even if I don't like it, this is so pretty that I wouldn't be mad about keeping this on my shelf. So overall, even though I didn't buy a single one of the books that I was planning to buy on Canadian Independent Bookstore weekend, I would say that I had a very successful haul this year. If you made it this far into the video, please leave a Ferris wheel emoji for a haunted amusement park, or let me know in the comments down below what the last book you bought at an independent bookstore was. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.